Hello my people, welcome to another tutorial. My name is Agnes. In case you're new to this channel, you are very welcome. In today's tutorial, I will show you how I made this cute little summer top that I love so much. I used the basic stitches. We have the double crochet stitch, the cross stitch, and then we have the shell that is all around that to give it that little cute detail. You can wear it both ways, you know, the front ties or the back ties, depends on what you like. You can also put buttons if you like, you know, if you don't like something open, but I loved it like this. And we are going to be making it in different sizes, so it is a made to measure. You can take your bust measurements and you'll be able to make this top. All right, so for the materials, we are going to be using durable comfy. This yarn is from durableyarn.com and it is 100 grams, 266 meters. I used 2 skeins for the extra small, and it is a size 2 or a sport yarn. However, yeah, it is also microfiber acrylic 100%. It is very light, so you can use this or any other yarn that you like. Yeah, like I said, it is this is color honey. This is color honey, and it recommends a 3 to 4 millimeter hook. I'll be using a 3.0 millimeter hook because the smaller the hook, the neater the stitches, I guess. It is from durableyarn.com. However, I have yarn packs on Yarn-C, so you can always go to yarnc.com, search for SC Crochets, and here you will find my projects and the yarns that I have used for different sizes, and you can order and they will deliver them to you wherever you are, so check them out. Yeah, so you will find the links for all this in the description box. I am also selling patterns. You can also, I will leave this in the description box. So we are just going to continue. So you will need a tape measure because we are taking our own measurements, our bust measurements especially, and you'll need scissors. And for the hook size, like I said, it is a 3.0 millimeter hook, but you can use hook size recommended by the yarn that you're using in case you're not using this yarn. All right, so this is our top when it is done, and we are going to start with a long chain that is our bust measurements minus 4 inches, and then we'll work all the way to top of our bust, and then we'll do the straps. And once we're done with the straps, we'll do this shell stitch all around, put the ties, and then we are done. So let's begin. So like I said, the foundation chain is going to be your bust measurements minus 4 inches. Why? Because we have the shell stitch in the front and we'll need a little bit of some stretch allowance, so that's why we are taking off the 4 inches. Okay, so you're going to make a slip knot and you are going to make a chain. Okay, so this chain is your bust measurements. Take your tape measure, wrap it around your bust. You know, bust is like around your boobs, and then minus 4 inches. Then make that chain. Okay, I'll see you once you have your chain. So this is my chain. Like my bust is 32 inches. Okay, so if I take away 4 inches, it means I need a chain that is 28 inches long. Okay, my bust is 32 minus 4 inches, I remain with 28 inches. So I'll make a chain that is equivalent to 28 inches. Okay, is that clear? So this is my chain. It's very long, so I will just fold it into 2 so that it can fit in on my camera. So just measure your chain. Mine is not so straight. Okay, so 28 divided by 2, because it is folded into 2, that should be around 14. Okay, it's not getting straight, but it is 14. 14 times 2 is 28. Yeah, just not to confuse you, the chain is 28 inches long. I know some people, when they hear minus divide, they start to get so confused. So anyway, so to start on our row 1, you are going to skip 2 stitches, and into the 3rd stitch we are going to make a double crochet. Skip 2, so that is skip these 2 stitches, and then into the 3rd stitch make a double crochet. The chain 2 that we skipped does not count as a stitch, so you are going to go into every chain with a double crochet. So we are going to be working like 2 rows of double crochet, 2 rows of the cross stitch, 2 rows of double crochet, 2 rows of the cross stitch. That is our pattern. So our first row is going to be a double crochet row, our second row a double crochet row, and then we'll switch to the cross stitch. So work 1 double crochet in every chain until you get to the end of your row. All right, so I'm coming to the end. I have 1 chain remaining, so I will work my last double crochet here, and like this. I love how this yarn looks. It's really pretty. It's like silky, so it feels nice and it looks good. All right, so this is my very long chain, and we are going to row 2. So you are going to chain 2. So make 2 chains. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So turn your work yarn over, and in that very first stitch we will make our first double crochet. So you see this does not count, so we'll still make a double crochet in that very first stitch in the 2 loops. Okay, so make your first double crochet, and you're going to go into the next stitch with a double crochet, and we are going to make 1 double crochet in every stitch until we get to the end of this row. So do that, and I'll come to the end to show you how we finish it off and how we start our 3rd row, which will be the X stitch. All right, so I'm coming to the end. And this is going to be your last stitch right here. Like I said, the chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, so this is our last double crochet on top of the previous double crochet. Okay, so you leave the chain 2 alone, and now this right here is where you placed your last double crochet in these 2 loops, under these 2 loops. Okay, that's your last double crochet, like this. All right, so chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Please remember that. All right, so for row 3 we are going to chain 2, and for this is going to be the X stitch. So for the X stitch we are always going to start with a double crochet first. Okay, so chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so we're going to make a double crochet in this very first stitch. So 1 double crochet. Okay, and now we are going to start on the X stitch. So for the X stitch is a double crochet, just placed differently. So you'll skip the first stitch, and then into the second stitch you are going to make a double crochet, and then you're going to go backwards to the stitch that you skipped, then make a double crochet in there. So you're just like crossing 2 double crochets. That's why it's the X stitch or the cross stitch. Okay, so next is you worked in these 2, right? So now you skip the next stitch, and then you work a double crochet in the one right after that, and then you go backwards to the stitch that you skipped and then make a double crochet, so it crosses over the other. Okay, so skip a stitch in the next stitch, make a double crochet, and then go backwards to the stitch that you skipped, make a double crochet. All right, so you are just going to continue doing the cross stitch or the X stitch until you get to the end of this row. I will meet you there at the end. Okay. All right, so we are coming to the end, and as you can see, I have a few stitches left, so I do my cross stitch here, and as you can see, I have 2 stitches left, but I want to end the row with a double crochet, not an X stitch. So what will I do? I will just work 2 double crochets in these last 2 stitches. If you're left with 1 stitch, good for you, just work 1 double crochet. Okay, so I work my last double crochet in there, so it's 2 double crochets at the end for me. If you only had 1 stitch left, you only have 1 double crochet. So for the next row, it's going to be a row of X stitches, and we are going to chain 2, turn our work. So if you had last 1 double crochet, then make 1 double crochet. If you have 2 double crochets, you're going to make 2 double crochets. So you're just going to repeat what you did on row 2. So or row 3, sorry. So these are 2 double crochets, so I will work 2 double crochets, and then you are going to just make an X stitch on top of an X stitch. So you'll skip the first stitch here and then work into the second stitch like this, and then go backwards in the stitch that you skipped, work a double crochet, then skip the next stitch, next stitch, work a double crochet, and then go backwards to the one that you skipped and make second double crochet, then skip, double crochet, go backwards, double crochet, and you're going to do this until the end. So where there's a next stitch, make a next stitch on top. Okay, and I'll see you at the end so that I can show you now how we go back to the double crochet row. Okay, so this is row 4. Row 5 will be double crochet, and then row 6 double crochet. We're just going to be alternating after every 2 rows. Okay, so I am at the end and I have 1 double crochet left, so I'll make a double crochet on top of that previous 1 double crochet. Okay, so now we are going to row 5. Row 5 is going to be a row of double crochets. So you're going to chain 2 and turn your work, and we are going to make 1 double crochet in every stitch. So chain 2 does not count as a stitch as always, so double crochet in this very first stitch, and I am going to go into every stitch with a double crochet. Okay, so you're going to do this until you get to the end, and then you turn your work, chain 2, and begin a row of double crochet. After that, 2 rows of X stitch. You're just going to repeat this pattern until you get to the length that you want. So from your bottom to where you're just right above your bust, like check my pictures where my top reaches, where your straps should begin, that's where you will stop. So this is me. I have my bottom part ready. Okay, and now we are going to determine basically where we put our straps. So first of all, I show you how long mine is. It is about 9 inches long. Okay, so if you want it longer, just add more rows, and if you want it shorter, then you do less rows. Okay, so we want to fold our top like this, but we want to determine where we can fold it. So just get a piece of paper. I'm going to do basic math. I know some people think it's not basic math, but it is basic math. So you're going to count all your stitches, okay? And then write it down, okay? So follow me, count all your stitches. How many do you have? This is what our rectangle looks like, right? Count every stitch that you have. So how many stitches do you have? I have counted mine and I have 137 stitches without the chain, okay? So what you have, the stitches that you have, you're going to divide by 4. So mine is an odd number, cannot be divided by 4, so I'm just going to take away that 1 and just work with 136, divide by 4. Okay, we are dividing this rectangle into 4 parts. Okay, so for me this is 34 for every part. Okay, 34 stitches in every part. Okay, so this is 34, this is 34. So one side is going to be like my front panel, and this other side is going to be my front panel, and then these middle 2 parts are going to be basically my back. Okay, my back panel. So back panel and then front panel, okay? So I have 34 stitches on every front panel. Okay, have we noted that? If your number is not a whole number, don't worry, just go with what, if it is like, I don't know, 34.5, just go with 34, okay? If it is like 36.66, I don't know, just go with a whole number, all right? So front panel, back panel. So front panel is 34 stitches, all right? So what we are going to do is we're going to count 34 stitches from this side, then put a stitch marker. For me, I don't know how many stitches you have. I'll count 34 from that side and put a stitch marker, okay? So now we can be able to fold it and we know how it folds. Now, next part is we need to determine where exactly we put these straps. All right, so we already know what is in your front panel, okay? So you are going to take that piece of paper again and divide. You can use your phone as a calculator or something, but note it down, okay? So I did the first part, as you can see. So let me show you how I determined that. So you remember the 34 that I had for the front panel, okay? You are going to divide that again by 3. It's just division, like put it on your calculator. You note these numbers down, so just note them down, and then that front panel, divide it by 3. And for me it was 34 divided by 3 is about 11.3, so I will go with 11, okay? 34 divided by 3 is about 11.33. I will go with the whole number, which is 11. So from the farthest part here, I'm going to count 11 stitches, okay? And then I'm going to put my stitch marker there. Where is my stitch marker? I lost all my stitch markers, so I always use yarn, a different color of yarn to mark these places. So my 11 stitches. So from my stitch marker on the other side, this one, I'm also going to count 11 stitches. And then put a stitch marker, okay? So I know how many are in between because I already did the other one. It's 12 in between. 11 plus 11 is 22 plus, 12 is 34. So I know. So I'm just going to put my hook there and remove this stitch marker. And now I am going to do 12 X stitches because I'm on the X stitch row. So I'll chain 2, then in that very first stitch I'll make a double crochet, because like I said, we always begin with a double crochet before we start on the X stitch, okay? So I'll make a double crochet in that very first stitch, and then I will now make an X stitch. So I'm going to make a double crochet, go back into the stitch that I skipped and make a double crochet, skip 1, double crochet, go backwards, double crochet, skip one double crochet, go backwards, double crochet. So I'm going to do this until I have 12 double crochets. This also depends on how thick you want your strap to be. You could make less stitches if you like. You could do like 8 in the middle and then the rest you leave on the side. Okay, so once I have my stitches, always end with a double crochet. So if you have two stitches left, you end with 2 double crochets, but I only had 1, so that is how it looks like. Okay, so I have 11 on one side, 11 on the other side, and then 12 in the middle. Okay, so I'll chain 2, turn my work, and make another row of the X stitch. So I'll make a double crochet, skip 1 stitch, and then double crochet. So you're going to make an X over an X. So double crochet, go backwards, double crochet. So make an X stitch on top of an X stitch, and once you get to the end, make your double crochet to finish the row off. You know how to do this, so yeah. So my last stitch is a double crochet. And next, you know what is next? Next is the 2 rows of double crochet. So you chain 2 and then turn your work and then work double crochets in every stitch. Chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So I am going to repeat this until I have 10 inches long. So that can be for extra small and small. If you're doing medium large, you can take 11 inches, and XL and XXL, you can do 12 inches. Okay, so do that, and I'll meet you once I have my 10 inches or whatever inches that you like. You can also measure the straps of your top somewhere in your home and do those inches. Okay, so all right, so I'll see you once I'm done. So this is my 10 inches. Okay, so it's about that, and we want to sew this to the other side of the top, to the back, or from the back to the front, whichever side you're doing. So one side you will do from the front to the back, and the other side from the back to the front. Okay, so I will just leave the same number of stitches from the stitch marker from the side. That's how you know how many stitches you will leave. Okay, so I'll count the same number of stitches. Here it was 11, and on the other side 11, so 11 here. Then I'm going to count the ones I'm doing, which is 12 for this strap. So from this stitch mark here, I'll count 12, and that's where I will sew my strap. So this is for me on my right side, and I cannot sew it on my right side. I need to sew it on the wrong side. So, and you can use a darning needle for this, but I will be using my hook and slip stitches. So I'll turn it to the other wrong side like this, and then sew it from the wrong side. Okay, so I am going to be using slip stitches. You can sew using any method that you like, that is convenient for you, that is neat for you. I just love to use slip stitches because it's fast and looks okay. So I will just slip stitch in every stitch, both the strap and the back of my top. And do you know that I have a video on the front tie top for a summer top, another, it's like a bralette, and it's really cute actually. So I will leave the video in the description box. I also have a written pattern for it, so if you're interested, you can check the details in the description box on how you can purchase the pattern or a link for the tutorial. All right, so once I'm done, this is how it looks on the right side. Not bad, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to work single crochets on this other side, just to give it a clean look first. So we will be working single crochets around, so that we give it a clean look before we put the shell stitch. So, and of course the shell stitch is optional, you don't have to do it if you don't like it. So let's do single crochets. So we are going to single crochet in every stitch, so just go into every stitch with a single crochet basically. Stitch marker, we don't need you anymore. So single crochet in every stitch, and you're just going to go around this area until you get back to where you started your single crochets. Okay, and then once you're done with that, then you do the other sleeve just the same way, and I will see you once you have the two sleeves or two straps. How do you call them? Are they sleeves or straps? Okay, just go around. Then once you're done, cut off the yarn, do the other sleeve. Okay, and yeah, I'll see you when you're done. So I have the two sleeves or straps, whatever, and now we're going to do single crochets on the front side. Okay, so we just work single crochets not at the bottom but all around the front, the sleeves, and like this all the way back down here. At the bottom we'll do the shell stitch later, but first we do the single crochets so that we can clean this up. Okay, so I will work the single crochet on the wrong side because I want the shell to be on the right side. So we'll start at the bottom here, reattach your yarn, and I am going to be working one single crochet in every stitch like this. Just, you see where I'm placing them, you do the same. I think if you're doing buttons, you would do a couple of single crochet rows instead of the shell stitch. Then you can have one where you put buttons and the other where you put buttonholes. I think I would do like 4 single crochet rows. And put buttonholes on the last, on the third one, and then do another single crochet row. Anyway, do all the way up and down to the other bottom. So I am done with the single crochet row, and I went all the way like this and back to the bottom. So now we need to do the shell stitch going the other way, and we'll also do at the bottom. So shell stitch, how we are going to do it is with 5 double crochets. So we are going to skip the first stitch, this one and this one, 2 stitches, and then into the third stitch we are going to make 5 double crochets in 1 stitch in the third stitch. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we are going to skip only 1 stitch, and then into the second stitch we are going to make a slip stitch. Skip 1, second, make a slip stitch. Okay, so that's our first shell there. And now we are going to skip 2 stitches before we begin our second shell. So skip 2, in the third one make 5 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you're going to skip only 1. So when you end the shell, you skip 1 stitch and then slip stitch. Okay, and then when you're going to begin the next shell, so after the slip stitch you're going to skip 2 stitches instead. Okay, so skip 2 stitches, and into the third stitch make your shell. And that's basically going to be it. So it's 5 double crochets, skip 1, slip stitch, skip 2, 5 double crochets. Okay, in that order. Skip 1, slip stitch, skip 2, 5 double crochets. So you're going to repeat this all around where you did your single crochets, and I'll meet you at the bottom. So I went all around, and this is how it looks. The shell stitch looks cute actually. So we are at the bottom, and now we need to do the bottom with the shell stitch. It's going to be the same. Okay, so I will just show you what we do. Slip stitch, and then skip 2, into the third one make a shell. So it's 5 double crochets, skip 1, slip stitch, skip 2, 5 double crochets in 1 stitch. Skip 1, slip stitch, skip 2, 5 double crochets. So do this until you get to the end, and once you are at the end, then just cut off your yarn, and this is what you should have. It should look like this. All right, so I didn't want to do the shells on the other part of the sleeve, but let's make it uniform. I think it looks better when it is uniform. So we are going to make shells from here all the way to the other side, and not under the arm because that would be ridiculous. Okay, so we are going to make straps after that. So depends on what you want first. You want straps or you want the shell. So let's make the shell. So I'll start from right here, and it's going to be the same. So skip 2 stitches, and you're going to make 5 double crochets. So you're just going to mimic what is on the other side of the sleeve, okay, or the strap, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So skip 1, slip stitch, skip 2, 5 double crochets. And basically we are going to repeat this until we get to the other side. I will not do the underarm, but I guess if you like you can do that. So yeah, do that on both sleeves, and then we'll come and then put the straps. All right, so this is what your top should be looking like. And now we're going to put the front ties. So I only going to put 2. You can put more if you like, or you can put like a long one at the top, 2 long ones, and then you can just tie through the shells, like zigzag kind of, if you like. But I just want to, you know, do only 2 because I want to show some skin, you know, but yeah, you can do it different. So I'll just reattach my yarn and then do a single crochet just to make it secure, and then just make a long chain. So if you want to make like the zigzag all the way down, just make 1 long chain on one side and the other long chain on the other side, and then you can tie it from top to bottom all the way down. You know, you can just put it through the double crochets in the shell. Okay, so you can have more coverage, but if you like to show more skin, then you can just put 2 or so. I will only put 2. You can put 3 or 4, whatever that you like. This is totally according to your preference. Okay, so I will work in this 5th shell. Reattach my yarn and then do a single crochet and make a chain. All right, so once your chain is long enough, just cut it off, and then you're going to mimic the other side. So you'll do exactly the same on the other side of the top. Okay, and once you do that, then I think we are done, right? You just sew in all your ends, which is like the worst part about crochet. It's the worst part for me about crochet. I don't know about you. So this is how it looks like. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm not good at tying bow ties, but I think it looks pretty. So thank you so much. Please share this video with your friends, and let me see, what's your favorite? Do you like to wear the ties at the back like this, or do you like to wear them at the front? Let me know in the comment section. And also please go check out yarnc.com and see if you can buy some of my yarn packs that are available. Bye.